Hello and welcome to Profile from the Cape Cod Community Media Center. I'm your host, Izzy Kaplan, and today we're going to be talking about the Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra, and my guest here is Matt Scinto, the music director and founder of the Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the Chamber Orchestra. This is sort of your baby, and you had your first concert in 2018. Can you tell me how you got started?
So when my wife and I moved down here, and I think it was the summer of 2017, I was just fresh out of school from BU and was, just trying to get my feet wet here on Cape Cod. And I found that there really wasn't much of a professional classical music scene. There wasn't any professional chamber orchestra. So I took it upon myself to say, well, I think I'll start one of my own. And we kicked off our first concert, like you said, in April of 2018. It was kind of just a one-off event, but it was received very, very well. And I decided to, from there, program our first season, which started that summer, and then through the year, and we concluded that in April of this past year. And we actually just kicked off our second season, which is very exciting. And yeah, it's been full steam ahead. I didn't really know what to expect, but I think we found a way to craft programs in a way that's interesting to all different types of people, whether or not you have much of a background or knowledge of classical music. I think we've brought lots of different folks into our concert, so it's been an exciting ride, certainly, so far.
Yeah, congratulations on completing your first season. What was your background in music? Were you studying to be a composer or conducting?
So I started music school at Syracuse University as a music ed major because I thought that was what I was going to be going into, teaching in public school. And I realized that it really wasn't offering me much time to practice my instrument, which is viola. So about halfway through my bachelor's degree there, I switched to viola. As a conductor, I really had no aspirations to become a conductor. I wasn't really sure. I mean, I think lots of conductors tell these very romanticized stories of, I saw the man or the woman up on the podium when I was 4 years old, and I knew that was. I'm like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. It came to me, I think, as an interest, one, in being around an orchestra. I mean, playing viola and playing in youth orchestra growing up and playing in high school and middle school and then getting to college and really diving in and getting, more interested in symphonic and orchestra writing. And then I really fell in love with learning how pieces of music are put together from an analytical point. I mean, that's what you do behind the scenes as a conductor. Is you sit and you learn all of the parts in order to really effectively run not only the rehearsal but to manage the performance, because that's what I feel like most of my job is. And I've always been really interested in music history, learning about the conditions that some pieces of music were written, learning about different composers. So conducting is all of that. And I guess for me, the part that the public-facing image of a conductor, which is kind of the arm-waving part, it still is kind of weird to me that it works the way it does. But it's a constant learning process. I think most musicians find that you're always kind of pursuing, and how can I better myself as a musician and as a person? How can I learn how to work with people better? I mean, that's my job, and I think that's another part of it. I really like working with people, and as a conductor, you have to be able to do that well in order to inspire people and to get them to really follow your vision. That requires skills as a leader, and I constantly trying to become a better one in many ways. So that's how I started. And then I went on to a doctoral program at Boston University. I studied there. I studied at the Tanglewood Music Center. Just to keep learning how to technically become a better conductor. That's kind of what we all aspire to do. And then it led me here to Cape Cod, and starting an orchestra was something that I really didn't think I was going to do until I found that there's absolute need here for it. So it's opened up my, I guess, vision as not only a musician, but how do you run an organization? How do you fundraise? How do you do marketing? How do you do Facebook advertising and all of these things that you don't learn in music school at all. I think now there's more of a push for it, but it's been a fun process.
Yeah, it
so
seems
far.
like you have to do kind of everything.
Yeah, it's a juggling act
Yeah.
for sure. And sometimes the conducting part of it is on the bottom of because the thing that's weird about orchestra is the thing that you do least is put on concerts.
Right.
Which you would think would be the other way around,
Yeah.
but there's all of the other behind the scenes work is so important to running the organization successfully. So.
And one thing that you do is create these sort of unique programs, often with a theme. Can you talk a little bit about that?
What I've found here on Cape Cod specifically, and I think it's this way with many other areas of the country, is that how do you get new audience members into our concert? Because I don't think always performing, say, a work by a very famous composer, let's say Mozart or Beethoven, it interests a certain area, a certain type of individual that has experience, going to concerts and knows these composers. But I found that, interestingly enough, I've been able to use contemporary music that is new music, which generally you would think would require a very sophisticated type of taste to be able to appreciate it, but I found that people are very open-minded. And if you find composers that write music that is on the same emotional and intellectual level as lots of these other famous composers that we can list off, it draws audience members in. I think more people come, say, to the WIDA Pirate Museum concert because of that collaboration, rather than the Symphony of Haydn that we played on the same program. I think people have interest in how do you portray, say, the life of, in this case, a pirate, Sam Bellamy. How do you portray that through music? And it's been a successful model so far, and it's given us the artistic freedom to be able to commission new pieces of music, which is something I feel very strongly about. So, yeah, it's been successful in that regard, in ways that I didn't really foresee when you start out on something like this. So.
Yeah, and probably the collaborations are bringing people in who may not be interested as much in classical music, but who are interested in the topic that
Exactly.
you're trying to portray.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unique about your orchestra. So you do normally around 5 main concerts per season.
Yeah, we right now we perform our regular season, so this is our second season now. We perform at Pilgrim Church in Harwichport. And over the summer, we kind of branch out a little bit. This last summer, we did a series of brunch concerts at Requasset Resort, which was a fun venue for us to play at, and a great way to enjoy a gorgeous view and a great meal.
It's a beautiful place to
and enjoy, just a kind of impromptu performance. I mean, it's kind of weird, I guess, when you look at like a regular concert to have people eating, I guess, during it. But it's fun in that way.
Yeah.
It kind of trying to find ways to bridge the gap and bring music to an audience and to people that, like you said, traditionally maybe wouldn't want to go into a concert hall because I'll admit, I mean, lots of people will also agree it can be not only an expensive experience, but an intimidating experience. I think a lot of newcomers feel that they need to have all of this knowledge to be able to appreciate this music, but that's not it at all. I mean, why do you think orchestras are still around for the past hundreds and hundreds of years? It's because they still have the ability, and the music we perform still has an ability to have a effect on your, I guess I would call it your spirit, your soul. I mean, it can move you still in those ways. That's what I always try to. I guess I don't start out that way when I try to have people come to our concerts, but I think they'll find that they leave that way saying, wow, I never really experienced, a live orchestra before like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other thing I want to mention, so your concerts often are benefiting other organizations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, part of our mission is to use music as a charitable tool and to be able to raise awareness and funding for other organizations. So December, this will be our second year doing it, but last December we did a benefit concert for the Fostering a Dream Fund of Cape Cod. This is a fund that provides money for students to take music lessons and dance lessons and art classes and types of creative opportunities that children in foster care can partake in, and they don't really have to worry about how many things they're carrying around with them, because as you can imagine, children or teenagers or young adults being moved around, music lessons and dance lessons is something you can take with you anywhere. It's a skill and something you can learn. So we raised money for this organization, and this year in December we are doing another benefit event for the Alzheimer's Family Support Center. And I think, again, Alzheimer's and music is a great way not only for people suffering with this terrible disease to kind of be more in touch with themselves for a brief moment, but also for caregivers and folks to be able to come to a concert and reflect and have a pretty special experience. So I try to find ways. I pick organizations that I think this marriage of music and the mission of the nonprofit makes sense to me. In the case of the Fostering a Dream Fund, that did, and in the case of this, our benefit for the Alzheimer's Support Center, it's fitting. So, and I think it's a great tool to be able to raise money for. The concert's a special thing, and I like to be able to highlight what these different organizations and nonprofits specifically are doing here on Cape Cod. So.
Right, yeah. So when you buy a ticket to see the Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra, you're probably benefiting a local organization here.
That's
so
right.
You get this great experience and you're helping a local organization. So that's awesome. And I also want to mention that tickets are free for kids and students. So really making it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I don't think it should be hundreds of dollars to come bring your family to see a concert. So I think that's typically the issue with going to see an orchestra, because it, inherently it's an expensive production to put on, and thus the ticket prices usually reflect that. But I try, any way I can to kind of make it affordable for folks. So.
Yeah, that's great. So you can find more information at capecodchamberorchestra.org, and you also are on social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
So yeah, you can find more information there, events and behind the scenes looks perhaps at the orchestra.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to mention today?
I would just say that our concerts really are for everyone. You don't have to know anything about the program. If it were up to me, I would do a concert in which I didn't even announce what the music we were playing. I would just say, why don't you just come and listen to us play for you? That's kind of that's the type of environment I think we have been creating, where it's this, you feel that's an intimate experience. It's an educational experience, and it's just fun and exciting. And that's what we're really all about. So I hope you'll join us in a concert this year and going forward.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. This is Matt Scinto, the music director at the Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and you are watching Profile from the Cape Cod Community Media Center. Thank you for joining us.